The way that I've come to understand it is, can you rely on yourself? Can you trust yourself to make decisions? Can you trust yourself to handle the outcome of those decisions, even if uncertain? And if something doesn't go the way you planned, can you trust yourself to not abandon yourself? Can you trust yourself to stand in your values, in who you are, in what you want to do, in big emotions? It's how can you show up for yourself like a trusted friend would? Just as trust is foundational to your relationship with another person, self-trust is obviously foundational to your relationship with self. And what your relationship with yourself looks like and how strong it is shapes how you will experience your entire life. And I'm so passionate about this one in particular, and I know the terrain so intimately, and I can recognize patterns very quickly, not only because I'm an ICF certified coach that knows the frameworks and the tools and all the things, but I was depressed up until my early 20s severely. I felt like I was kind of floating above my life for a really long time, and I was outsourcing everything. I was outsourcing my worth, my decisions, what I should do with my life. I always needed someone else's opinion. I needed certainty before I could move on anything, not necessarily because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but because I didn't think I could do it or I couldn't handle it if I failed. I spent a very long time people pleasing. I think that's a really common one. And there's a big difference between doing things for people because you genuinely care about that person, you have the capacity to help and you love them and you want to help, versus I can't trust myself to handle someone else's disapproval or negative opinion of me if I don't do this thing. And essentially doing it out of love or out of fear. And obviously those things don't always mean that the issue is self-trust. Again, complex, nuanced. However, it is one that comes up often. And what really changed a lot of those things for me was being introduced to the concept of self-trust, because I didn't have that language before. I just knew I was anxious. I knew I had a really hard time making my own decisions. I had a really hard time standing by them. I basically was just a jittery creature that needed somebody to tell me what to do. And a lot of the times that was an authority figure or my friends or a guy or, that's all I knew. And I was trying to address all of those different issues when I was given the concept or the idea or the language around self-trust. And I went, oh, this is where this is all stemming from. I can't rely on myself to carry me through all of these different areas. And that is what I see in clients again and again and again. And when that foundational root or challenge is addressed and people are able to build better relationships with themselves, I see all of these other things kind of start falling into place. Because it's not, I trust myself to make the right decision. It's, I trust myself to show up for myself regardless of the outcome of this decision that I am making. Regardless of what happens through uncertainty, I know that I'll be okay. And so now when I work with people, self-trust isn't the thing they come to me for. It's not the thing that, you don't wake up thinking I have a self-trust problem. You wake up thinking, I don't know what to do next. I seem to keep picking the wrong people. I need to wait until I'm ready to launch this business, show up online, do this thing. Something feels off about this life path that I'm going down, but I don't know what, and I don't know. I don't even begin to know how to exploring that. And so I'm just going to stay where I am, and something continues to feel off, and I am on autopilot through my days. People know that. And I think having the language of this is a self-trust issue is important, because if you can identify that, you can identify, well, then I can solve it by building trust. to be able to not necessarily feel better about those fears. Some of those fears are really valid. Making a wrong decision, if if that exists is another conversation. Maybe there's just decisions and what you do with them. But there is fear in how a decision will turn out. Let's say, for example, you're deciding on a place to live where you want to build this next phase of your life, and you're really stuck between two places. Squirrel fight. At some point, you're going to research both places. You need to learn about both, maybe make a pros and cons list. Totally valid, totally normal. When you start spiraling about which you have enough information, you have enough information, and you still can't make a decision, and you're starting to get really anxious about it, and you're just rehashing the same information or looking for more when you know that you have enough. The issue isn't, oh, I need to be more informed. The issue actually is, I don't trust myself to make the right one. What if I pick the wrong one? I can't handle the fallout of feeling like I've picked the wrong one. And I don't trust myself to be able to build a life that I enjoy no matter where I am, to be able to pivot later on and maybe pick the other one. There's a heaviness to it. Every decision feels so massive because you don't trust yourself to be able to handle the outcome. Another thing I see with clients is, I want to start this thing, whether it's a project or an entrepreneurial dream or a nonprofit or just something really cool that they really, really want to do. And when I'm listening to them, a lot of the time it's, oh, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do. A lot of the time they know what they want to do. But sometimes if the issue is self-trust, we're dealing with not, oh, is this a good business idea? It's, can I handle the failure if I fail? And also, sometimes, can I handle the success? Can I handle the visibility that will come with it? Can I trust myself to hold this and not run away, or hold this and not burn it all down? And that's a little bit more subconscious, but that oftentimes is the level that we're working with. It's, can I build the capacity to trust that I can be okay, regardless if this works out or not? Can I feel okay being seen and taking a shot? And that's why it frustrates me when we minimize the conversation around self-trust and how big it is and how much it drives your life and how you show up and the people that you choose around you, the career that you choose, where you choose to live, the chances you choose to take on yourself, in life, with others. Can you imagine what you would do if you fully trusted yourself? The dreams you would go after. Self-trust, or lack thereof, is a reason why we hold ourselves back in so many ways from the life that we want to be living, that we're here to express, that is most aligned with who we are. I just want you to imagine for a second, if you fully trusted yourself, what would you do? What would you do differently? And maybe a bit of a tougher question right now is, what would it feel like to actually choose your life? Is there an area in your life right now that you're not choosing? And if you trusted yourself 100%, what would you choose differently? And again, that doesn't mean you're going to choose correctly or there's a right choice to make. It's that I recognize who I am and what I want. I want to take a shot at this thing. This is a decision that I want to make right now. And can I trust myself to take that shot? And can I trust myself to hold the success of it, or hold myself and be with myself in hard emotions that could come with potential failure? Because if we're going to do a Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott moment, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And you won't take any shots if you don't trust yourself that you can handle failure when you take them. And another thing that gets really interesting, a little bit more complex, is trusting yourself also doesn't mean that every thought or feeling that you have is valid, and not all of them need to be listened to. And that's where discernment comes in, which I think is another conversation for another day. So I really hope that just emphasizes the importance around self-trust and digs a little bit deeper into what it looks like on the surface. So perhaps you can maybe start recognizing some of these things in yourself. I know for me, if I wasn't given the concept and the language to be able to describe experiences that I was having forever that I didn't know what to do with, my life would look very, very different, and I would not have built the life that I have whatsoever if I didn't trust myself to take those shots. And I really hope the same for you.